Greetings Internet, DDA here, and welcome to the North Carolina extravaganza that we have here with Kelly Dennis. We are in the aftermath, which means we are hungover, but we want to bring you this deck because it's very important to promote the health, the longevity of the game, this wonderful deck. Now, Kelly here actually got second place with Vengeance Roshi yesterday.
This was not the deck I ran. I came unprepared to the event. I did not have the proxies and the cards I needed to get the deck together, so I did a quick last-second update with the Vengeance Roshi. It was the Perceptive build turned Mischievous for the new Mastery, for obvious reasons. And you guys know that deck, so we're not doing a profile on that deck.
Yep, so of course, and another big reason, and I told Kelly that I was going to hype this up a little bit, another big reason is, in my opinion, after everything that I've seen, I played against Kelly with this deck probably about, would you say, like 15 to 20 times I played against this deck?
Probably.
Yeah, how many times I played against it and what I saw last night and this weekend, in my personal opinion, I feel like this deck is the best deck in the format. Not even just the best control deck or the best anything, but actually the best deck in the format, because inherently this deck just trashes on Draku. And Draku, I don't think, can possibly beat this deck.
No, it can't. Draku got wrecked twice last night.
Alright, so why don't you tell me some of the key cards and combos that you like about this deck?
Alright, so the first thing with this deck, you're going to look at the Mastery. And it's essentially like a spiritual successor to Black Mischievous Mastery, rest in peace. However, the random discard is offset by forcing your opponent to draw a card on their next attack. So, you know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword when you're activating that power. Two things help with that draw a card from your opponent is 17, obviously. Anytime your opponent draws a card, you can activate it once per turn. They're discarding a random card from their hand, so that's neutralizing the downside of the Mastery. And that's kind of how the deck was built, and it's pretty obvious. And then second, I want to call out this card right here, Black Invitation. This card here, Black Defensive Burst. And these cards here, Black Capture. And what you're going to notice, they have hit effects.
Yes, they do.
And then what you're going to do, you're going to lock your opponent, you're going to force your opponent into a situation where you're discarding a random card from their hand, but because you're using Black Invitation on, say, Black Defensive Burst, you're neutralizing that card draw from performing an attack.
Right, the great thing about this deck is that he actually doesn't need to attack. So, one of the things that actually Shane said last night was that Kelly would enter on them Invitation and then Defensive Burst, and then Brawley will look down at their hand at 3 physical attacks and a physical block and then lose the game.
Yeah, so long story short, the deck is pretty much being run off of 17's level 1 power and the Mastery.
Right, of course.
So I'm hitting 2 random cards from your hand every combat. So that's pretty good.
Yep. So another key thing in this deck, another thing that we discussed is the triple viewing drill. Some people were saying, hey, maybe drop down to 2 viewing drill. What do you think about that, Kelly?
No, you drop down to 3. The beautiful thing with this drill is it was kind of niche in older sets, but now after testing the deck, I was initially in like a mid-range aggro deck, and after talking to Shane Reynolds and Josh Gregory and Drew Bednar, we realized that wasn't going to work. So I decided to shift to a mill deck, bump this drill up to 3, because I'm already discarding 2 cards from your hand every combat.
So 2 mill every combat so automatically.
Now you're milling off Stare Down. You're milling off Black Interrogation. Forgive me for the black and white proxy. Black Taunt. Black Delay. And all these cards are milling cards on the top of your deck. So I probably mill at least... I'm discarding cards at least 2 to 3 minimum from someone's hand every single combat.
Yeah, so, Black Taunt doesn't trigger it because they just draw. It triggers your Mastery, but...
triggers my power and my Mastery.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, so...
And, of course, Speedy Dodge will also trigger the viewing drill as well.
Yeah, so... on paper, it sounds kind of cute, but in practice, the mill adds up quite significantly. And then I don't need to explain anything about this drill, but there's a high frequency of mill, and the higher the frequency, the more busted the drill gets.
Yeah,
so
we were talking about this last night, and the passive nature of this deck with this drill, pretty much the only thing that makes it balanced is that he doesn't have a drill tutor, and he can't reliably get it back from the banish zone or the discard pile.
And it's limit 1 per deck.
And it's limit 1 per deck. But the number of instances of mill that this deck can activate, one of the things that he did to me last night was he completely set up a defensive wall, and he top decked time.
So it was like time, stare down, signal.
No, it was time, visage, VTP, and black searching technique. Okay, that's the 4 you top decked in that game. Okay, so maybe once per combat.
No, not at all.
Or once per turn.
It's checkup drill tier level. I think it's fine the way it is.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's a nice amount of blocks in here. It handles aggro extremely well. The only, I guess, the biggest weakness here would be
the signal. I love the signal. The signal's such a great card.
Yeah. When it came out, probably one of the worst cards ever made. And then when 17 was debuted in set 8 Fantasy, I had this deck built, and then what sends this to tier 1 status is the Mastery.
Yep,
for sure. But
See,
if I could call out weaknesses, I'd probably call out DBV. It may have some trouble going up against a Namekian deck or any other kind of Dragon Ball deck, but the solutions there are Choke, and then Capture, Invitation.
Yeah, Capture.
Those two comboed easily won me a game versus the winning Retribution Cooler list last night.
Yep. So, is there anything that you would want to improve or change about this deck in any way? Or do you feel like it's perfect?
Well, I've got 2 cards up here, Withering Fire. I'm not sure how I feel about them yet.
It's good in an orange meta.
Yeah, it's good in an orange meta. Sometimes when I draw, that's when I kill myself. I'm still trying to finagle some cards in there for board control. Black Refusal is great because I can tutor the van from either the discard pile or the life deck, and I can ditch the van for Refusal.
Yeah.
But I don't want to.
Really
I don't want to totally rely on that. I played Black Drain. I played Black Empowered Elbow. I played Withering Fire. I'm just seeing what feels most comfortable.
Okay. And so one thing I noticed is that you don't have Extreme Blast in here, and you're a mill deck. How do you feel?
Black Extreme Blast never made its way into the deck.
Okay.
When I shifted from a mid range to a mill deck or to a hyper control deck, I didn't realize how much mill was really going to happen. So Extreme Blast never made its way in. It would have made its way in, but now it's practically unplayable.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joey.
All right. So another card that I noticed that you're not playing is Black Haunting, and that is a mistake. In my opinion.
Yeah. That's going in at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'm going to fit it in, but Black Haunting will go in. Black Haunting is the best non-style hate card in the game.
Yes.
It's a little tricky to activate, but it certainly is the best one in the game.
Yeah, with the sequencing of this deck, it's a little bit tricky because you kind of have to give your opponent an action or two, unless you open with a stare down or something like that. What is another card? Did you ever consider Black Chomp? Because I know that the instances of mill just get ridiculous.
Yeah, but most of the mill is coming from me utilizing resources in my hand, whether it's Taunt, triggering my power, then triggering Viewing Drill, Stare Down, Interrogation. That means if I'm going to benefit from Chomp, it's going to be a card in my hand. So I'm going to have one less resource to use to do whatever I'm going to do to mill. Mm-hmm. I tested it at a 2 of, at a 3 of, at a 1 of. I don't think I necessarily like it.
Okay.
I might toss it back in, but we'll see. I mean, this is still in its... I've only had about 30 to 40 games with the deck.
Yeah.
So the more and more I play, the more the meta develops. I'll have a better idea of whether it may actually fit its way in there or not.
Okay, so if you could give one piece of advice to the new Black 17 Mischievous player. They just built the list. They're just starting to play it. What's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Get Black Viewing Drill and play immediately.
Yeah.
Black Viewing Drill gets the deck going. You're going to kill their hand regardless, but Black Viewing Drill is going to kill their hand, or is going to kill their deck while you're killing their hand.
Yeah, so you just play passively, really.
Yeah, you're not going to be attacking that frequently. As you can see, I run maybe 12 attacks, and they're all for utility.
Yeah. All right, well, it's an excellent list, man, and like I said, like we saw it last night, we played several games against Draku, and this deck just beats Draku. And we played a Videl game, and he crushed me because a great counter to this deck is Red Restriction, and you can't really use Red Restriction. I guess you have to. You have to use, even though it hurts you, you have to use it, almost.
Yeah, and one other closing statement I'll say. There's a pretty decent number of planning cards in here, and whether or not you draw dead in an aggro matchup, 17 in this deck stabilizes in combat really, really well. So even if you draw poorly, you're going to have the resources to at least, get away with a small lick.
Yep. All right, well, thanks, Kelly, for exposing this list, because like I said, best deck in the format.